Okay. Hello. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? I've enjoyed this conversation about coffee over here a lot. Okay. Ed, we aren't, or sorry, Nathan, we aren't able to see the Zoom out here yet.
Yeah, I can put it up. One
Okay,
second.
perfect.
You're just gonna see my name until someone talks.
Okay, and then has Dr. McNeil joined yet?
Yes, and we tested her PowerPoint. She just needs to share, and then you guys can just go ahead and talk.
Okay, perfect. Well, tonight I'm excited to have Dr. McNeil, who is the Dean of the Purdue Libraries, here to share a little bit about what's going on in her sphere of campus. So, Dr. McNeil, can you hear us all right?
I can, yes. Hello. Thanks so much for the invitation. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you just fine. So, you can go ahead and get started.
Great. I'm going to share I'll share some slides and I'd like to walk through them. And then I'm very happy to take any questions or suggestions or input that you all have. Let me see if I can do this. Can you see my slides?
Not yet.
All right. I must not have done it right. One second. Let me see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. How about now?
Yep, we can see them. I think you just might have to put it in presentation mode. So, yep, perfect. We can see them great now.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I want to just again say thank you for the invitation to come. I'm delighted to be here and happy to talk with students at any time. So I am the dean. Thanks for the introduction. I've been back at Purdue for about 18 months now. I was here years ago as an associate dean in the libraries, and the lure of coming back to such a campus that's so engaged with student activities and everything I knew from previous, I was really happy to be back. So just briefly, I think it's not sharing my slides. Let's see. There we go. Just moving a little slow here at home tonight. So I'm sure that you all are aware of our mini libraries on campus. I know Professor Sammy Morris visited with you all, I think several months ago, to talk about archives and special collections. In addition to archives, we have the subject libraries, the undergraduate library. We work closely with the Black Culture Center Library, and then three other offices are affiliated with the libraries. Office of Undergraduate Research, and that's something we always like to promote. Those opportunities are terrific and really impactful for so many students. We also include the Purdue University Press, which is a traditional publisher of books and journals, and then the University Copyright Office, which is a small office affiliated with the libraries and also with campus legal. And then let's see if I can make these move a little faster. I'm sorry. I'm having a slow computer tonight. All right. I wanted to really talk about our facilities. I know they're of great interest to students, and this is a odd year for us. Certainly, the library's mission includes providing the resources that students and faculty need and staff, books, journals, electronic resources. But we also really want to make sure that our spaces are the best they can be for students. And in line with that, we're going to do a master planning exercise this coming year so that we can really move some of our spaces into better technology, better resources, better support for students on campus. One thing that was going to open in the fall, but of course didn't due to the pandemic, was a new digital scholars lab up on the third floor of the Wilmeth Active Learning Center. We're really hoping that by summer we can really open it up for what it's supposed to be. Right now it's just a study space, socially distanced. And then also the Office of Undergraduate Research has been renovated and is now located in Hicks Undergrad Library, which seems like a good place for it. In the fall, it will also open up for full service student interactions. And right now it's a virtual operation. And then this past year, our very small but mighty Aviation and Transportation Technology Library was renovated. It's out at the airport. It serves a small segment of campus, but it is our most recent renovation. And hopefully, students are using it now in a small way. There aren't a lot of seats there, but it serves those students who need it. Pre-pandemic, I think one of the things we talk a lot about is, we know from your cell phone data, we don't know who you are when you come in, and that's important to us for confidentiality reasons. But we also know that 98% of students before the pandemic stepped into one of our libraries at least once a semester, probably more. And we think that's pretty good. I'd love if it was 100%, but we also know that sometimes you can use the library, and you do, students do, without ever walking in, and that's okay too. We really try hard to make as many of our resources as possible available electronically because there's the whole 24/7 access wherever you are, even around the world. That's an important thing for us. Copyright Office, you may not be aware of it except for maybe the copyright lead has stepped into classes to talk about copyright. Unfortunately, most students encounter the Copyright Office when there's a problem, like maybe a violation for downloading things that aren't supposed to be downloaded. It's a nice office full of nice people, but usually if you have to visit in person, it's not a good thing. But they do a lot of advising to campus and in classes, teaching around copyright. The press, I mentioned it earlier. One of the things about the Purdue University Press is it's small in the university press world, but they publish probably 20 to 25 books a year. And they also publish the Journal of Purdue Undergraduate Research. Some of you may have been published in that or been working on it with the press. It's an amazing publication, and Purdue is known for it now after the 8 or 10 years that it's been available. It's an opportunity for students who are working with a faculty member on a research project from the humanities into the sciences and technology to publish an article. And that's really helpful for students who are thinking about grad school, but also moving into industry. It can be important to show one of your high impact practices in undergraduate research with an article. Let's see. Office of Undergraduate Research, or OUR, I would imagine some of you are involved with various research projects. OUR is a 3-person office, but I think their impact is wide reaching. The number of scholarships that they put out for students to work on a research project with other faculty members, travel grants, and then the very successful once each semester and in the summer research fair where students are able to present. Of course, it's been virtual the last 2 semesters and will be again this semester, but really in the fall, we're looking very much forward to one of those big ballrooms in the Purdue Memorial Union being used to showcase student posters from research projects. It's always a great time, and the provost likes to visit and look at student research at the fairs, which is terrific. Back to more traditional library stuff. I won't go into details here, except to say, in addition to everything we have on campus, we also belong to a lot of very important networks to get you the resources that you need. The Big Ten libraries are banding together on a major collaborative effort. We kicked it off earlier this week, actually, and it'll be a year-long planning, putting in implementation, various resources, services, systems, if you will, to put that in place so that the Big Ten collection will become one. And this is great for Purdue because we're on the smaller end in the Big Ten with library resources. I recognize we have all sorts of other ways that we measure ourselves against our Big Ten colleagues, certainly basketball and football being an important one. But nevertheless, library resources wise, this will be huge. And we're really looking forward to what it's going to bring to campus for students, undergrads, grad students, professional students, as well as faculty and staff. And then we also offer our own ways to make Purdue scholarship available to the world, Purdue history collections available to the world through Purdue ePubs, Purdue eArchives, and then PURR, which is the data repository. So one of our services that we provide primarily for faculty is to offer a repository for data to be deposited into. Sometimes publishers are requiring now that when a faculty member or a scholar publishes in their journal, they deposit their data with a link to it. And PUR is a place that we can do that. And then, of course, there's traditional ways we can borrow resources from around the world if it's something we don't know. Archives and special collections, I won't go into it. I know, as I said, Professor Sammy Morris has been with you. Archives really is a tremendous opportunity to learn more about Purdue history, about student life at Purdue over various decades. And then, we also try to promote our premier collections. Certainly the Neil Armstrong collection, which is housed in the archives, is a real amazing collection for Purdue. And then the right airplane um, piece of the wing, which Mrs. Armstrong has donated to the archives, is there as well. So we have a broad collection. We also focus, as Sammy probably told you, in women's archives, psychoactive substance archives. I need to clarify that. Psychoactive substances research collections are up in archives. And then a newer role for the libraries, or at least a newer name change, is our libraries name change to include the School of Information Studies about 2 years ago. And it was really a nod to all the teaching that we do. Sometimes librarians in the old days would step into a class and talk about the research process. Increasingly, though, we were called to teach for credit classes. We have a small list of classes that we're doing now. We don't have a major, but we are working hard on certificates and recently announced a digital humanities certificate in collaboration with the College of Liberal Arts. Very soon, campus will announce a GIS, or Geographic Information Systems certificate. That's a campus wide collaborative led by one of our professors in the libraries. So we teach courses, we lead a couple of learning communities, and we're also heavily embedded in the impact program to help transform classes at Purdue to be active learning classes. Information literacy is our focus. Most, if not all, of our library faculty members have information literacy as a research area as well as an area they teach in. We're also, as I mentioned, involved in impact. Um, and Impact has been around enough years now that almost 90% of undergrad students have been enrolled at least in one impact course. And I like to think that embedding information literacy into that course, which is the way that you are able to determine you have an information need, you're able to analyze whether it's solid information that you've been using, and you're able to use it accurately, correctly in your coursework and your scholarship, and then also to assess the use of that. It's one of the things we try to embed into the impact program. We're also pretty actively involved in data science. We have a couple of data science courses. This is a learning community that's tied to primarily Engineering 103. Um, and it's really about data, using data science, what we need, how you use it throughout its life cycle, how to evaluate it, etc. Just a photo actually from one of the research fairs where this student presented on research data. Undergraduate Research Office offers some courses throughout the curriculum. That's Provost Ackridge talking with one of the students at one of the research fairs. Those are courses that you can take throughout your years at Purdue, but they build on each other, ultimately resulting in a solid background in doing research. These are the courses we're going to offer in the fall. We're not part of the core curriculum yet. It's new enough. We're still working on it. Many of these courses are cross-listed in some of the colleges, and we're working on that as well. We will soon be looking towards how we're going to staff the two certificates that are underway. And then eventually, as we build our curriculum and focus it, we may decide to do something more than just certificates. We'll see how that plays out. And then also, of course, our faculty are heavily involved in research. These are just a couple of the grants for the last year. And many of them have student workers, student researchers working with them on these grants. All right, this is something I'm hoping you can give me some input on. The sort of challenges or opportunities that we report to the provost each year typically are around, the resources we need to meet student needs, to meet faculty and student resource needs. A big concern of mine, I'm going to say it's an emphasis of mine, is I came from a university where we spent a lot of time really renovating, building on the library spaces in support primarily of undergraduate students. Others, of course, could use it too. But one of the areas I'm going to be focusing on with this master plan is really study spaces and what we can do to better outfit them to meet student needs. The Wilmeth Active Learning Center is, of course, a classroom building. I'm sure many of you have had classes in there, but it's also the Library of Engineering and Science. The physical library itself is located on the second floor of Wilmeth, but the whole building is both classroom and then informal study space. And we manage the informal study space with the hope that we're meeting student needs over there. Is our newest large facility. The airport library is, of course, newly remodeled, but it's really quite small. And as I think about our master plan, we want to be sure that we're getting a lot of student input. And I hope to work with student government next fall, actually, once we have a firm we're working with to make sure we're getting the stakeholder input that we need. We also work a lot on thinking about the collections that we need and how much electronic resources cost. That's a conversation that I have with the deans and the provost and his office really on a regular basis. We're trying to build our support for data science through coursework, also through the visualization wall and other services like that we could put in place in the various libraries that would enhance students' experience around data. And really making sure we have the right people teaching the courses that we're hoping to teach. So these challenges are also opportunities. Um, I think there's a space concern of mine, but also making our current spaces be more appropriate to meet campus needs is really on my mind quite a bit. I think this might be my last slide. Yeah, I'll stop sharing, and I hope that you will share with me any questions or input, suggestions that we should take into consideration. We do plan this summer to, along with really the rest of campus, fingers crossed, of course, that we can get back to a more open and have more students in our spaces. Right now, we do have socially distanced study space, and that is in some of our libraries a problem. We just don't have enough seats for the people who want to be in there. So
Thank
I'm
you.
not sure how you all do questions or if I should expect questions, but
Yeah,
I'm happy to talk about anything on your mind.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Neal. I know I learned a lot of offices there that I come in contact every year with, but didn't know
Thank,
that fell even under the libraries. So thank you so much. So yeah, I'll open it up for questions. So we'll just have our senators who are in person. They'll just raise their name placard and I can call on them. But if you're on Zoom, also feel free to unmute and ask any questions. So are there any questions right now? Yes, Chief of Staff.
Hi, so my question is about the seats in the library. So that number we saw on your last slide, I believe it was around 2,600. Is that pre-pandemic? And also, what was my next question? Oh, how do you foresee Purdue expanding more or creating more study spaces? Because it seems like, with the digital libraries, it doesn't seem like we're going to be building any new libraries. So how do you, as the dean, how would you like to see that work?
excellent questions. Thank you. So to your first question, those are pre-pandemic numbers, and those are the numbers that I really hope to be back to for fall 2021. Right now, we are at about 60% of those numbers, and we spaced everything out, and in general we thought we could make 50%. We were lucky due to some of the spaces that with some rearranging and making things farther apart, we could add a few more in. We're getting to the part of the semester where typically in a normal time we would be quite full. We do have problems in some of our libraries right now with the socially distanced seating just not being enough. And then, for example, the second floor of the Humanities and Social Sciences and Education Library, which is in the Stewart Center, you enter under the mural. Um, this past summer, we moved out a whole lot of print books and journals, moved them out into our storage repository and put more seats and tables there. And it's been slow to pick up. Um, and maybe it's just a matter of we need to have better signs in the crowded libraries saying go to the hissy second floor, or maybe it's not a place students want to be. It's yeah, so that's on my mind a lot about how we can get students to move around to spaces or to make them more aware of spaces. I haven't looked at this month's cell phone data. Well, it's early in the month, but in February, early February and in January, we were seeing some of our library facilities just not having as much traffic as we might be able to encourage. So we need to work on that, and I'll talk to some of our people about maybe signs or more social media. And then to your other question, you're absolutely right. The digital library is here. I'm glad it's here. I think it's the right thing for us to have. And I don't think we need more library square footage, if that helps with your question. I do think we have to update some of our, well, I know we have to update some of our current spaces. We need more power outlets. Um, I will probably never have enough power outlets. When we renovated the library where I worked previously, I think, doubled it, tripled it, still never enough. The average student in some studies carries around 4 things that might need to be plugged in at any minute. So, that's an issue. Um, but the master plan that we're going to embark on, technology is important. Learning spaces and the sort of spaces that students would most desire being in to study individually, to study in groups. Those are the kinds of things we want to collect information from Purdue students on, so we can work with consultants to have a plan, and it's probably a multi-year plan for transforming some existing spaces. I also think that the Wilmeth Active Learning Center, or WALK, as it's known, was a beautiful pilot. And I think a lot of leaders think of it as a pilot, but in fact, we were piloting that sort of thing when we renovated the parish library in the Granite building probably 10 years ago. The idea of an active learning classroom, different sorts of study arrangements, zones of space for quiet to less quiet to noisy collaborative space. Those are things that then got transferred into the Wilmeth Active Learning Center. And I think even there we're learning from the open spaces, study spaces perspective, things we might do differently moving forward if we were to be able to renovate existing spaces. Another aspect of this is that south of State Street, we, in the old days, had a library on the second floor of the Lilly building. And then we, of course, have the parish library at Cranard. But right now, parish and the veterinary medicine library down at the vet school are the only two formal, official, open to everyone library study spaces. The idea of something more on the south side of State Street for student study is something we hear from students. Um, I don't know if that's a possibility. We'll have to see how the master plan plays out. And, of course, it needs to coordinate with the university's master plan and what other sort of spaces need to be built or renovated. So like I said, I'm not really expecting the footprint necessarily overall to grow, but I know we need more seats. We need more study space, and we do need to really renovate some of our existing spaces. Archives and Special Collections is a kind of a unique example. That is the one library space that will continue to grow in print resources. So the footprint of archives materials grows all the time because we need to collect Purdue history from alums, from student groups, from individuals who have collections to add to our premier collections. Otherwise, our print book collection will be carefully maintained to remain about the same size, at least in the public open spaces in the libraries. So we don't need at this point more book space. What we need in our libraries is more study space, more services for students space. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, most definitely. And I think, with the new, I'm glad that you're thinking and that we need more spaces, because it almost feels like some people don't think we need more spaces, but living on campus, being on campus, we ourselves see that need. So I would love to see you guys have more of a voice in expanding that.
Okay, thank you. We will rely on students, and I'd love to tap student government when we're working with consultants, architects firm as we work on our master plan. The libraries doesn't currently have a master plan. A lot of the colleges do. We have a strategic plan, but we haven't really thought about physical facilities for the libraries overall, and student space is my priority.
Are there any other questions? Yes, Senator Beatty.
Hi, thank you for presenting tonight. I definitely learned a lot. My question is just like, you keep talking about like increasing study space, which is a great idea. I was just wondering what kind of pathways or ways you can interact with students you have right now, or like if we could help with that.
Oh, sure. So I would love to have a student advisory council. The libraries used to have one. It sort of, there was a transition period between the former dean retiring. There was an interim dean, but she also had another job too. And then by the time they did the search and I arrived, and the libraries used to have an active undergraduate council and a thoughtful but didn't meet quite as often graduate student council. And I'd like to get back to that for regular input. We tried pre-pandemic, and then it just we had a small group that agreed, and we were going to get together, and then the pandemic happened. And while I could have brought it back up again this past fall, um, managing the libraries during the pandemic was an interesting task, and that was enough for me. So right now we rely on our student employees. We have about 175 of them. Sometimes we're able to get input from them about using the libraries. Now they're more familiar sort of with the behind the scenes stuff. So that's not the only source. We need to get information from other students too. And I'm really open to any ways that you all think we could do that. Hopefully in the fall, we'll get a council going again. And I'd like to reach out to student government leadership to get some names of students who might be interested in serving on that council. In the old days, it involved 2 or 3 meetings a semester and typically a light supper like pizza or sandwiches. We can go back to that again when, budgets are a little more flexible and we can meet in person.
Yes, Senator Wyrick.
Hi, thank you again for coming to speak with us this evening. One thing that I was super excited about that you mentioned was the GIS certificate. Personally, I'm a senator for the College of Agriculture, and as ag, changes and evolves with precision. I can't talk this evening. Precision technology. GIS is so pertinent, and it comes up all the time. So that is super, super exciting. The only question I had was related to the special archives. And you mentioned student organizations. So is there a way that student orgs can kind of go back in time and look at those archives and kind of, be able to look at those resources? Is there easy access to those?
Yes, in some cases. So we have managed to digitize a lot of archival collections, certainly not all of them. We have a whole lot in archives, and also some of them are restricted. But from a student org perspective, yes. And if it's not digitized, students can come into archives and request materials. And it's different than using a library. I'm not an archivist by training, and I think our archivists sort of despair when I start to talk about it. But it's a process of coming in, requesting materials, and they're brought to you, if they're in print still and not digitized, they're brought to you and you use them in archives. They don't leave archives, which is why it's so important for us to continue to digitize our archival collections. But if you are on the library's website, Archives has a web page, actually many web pages, and the collections that are digitized, there are links to them there. And if there's something in particular, it's always a good idea to reach out to the archives, and you can call or email. They have a Ask an Archivist sort of service to request a certain decade. What do you have about this group during this time period? This month we're focusing on our social media. Archives has its own social media presence, and we're focusing on the women's collections that we have in archives. Last month, we focused on Black and African American collections. Recently, we digitized, I think it's finished, but I'll go ahead and say it, student activism at Purdue is of interest. So when collections aren't yet digitized, when they're requested, if we get requests and we can digitize them, they go into the queue for the next efforts to be digitized. So we do rely somewhat on student needs or faculty needs, researcher needs when we prioritize what gets digitized. But Sammy Morris is in charge of archives, and as I said, you can reach them via their webpage or by phone. This during the pandemic, their hours are really by appointment, because in the early days of the pandemic, research just did not indicate whether the virus stayed on print and for how long, which is why if you're in some of our libraries studying, you might see the print collections covered, or you're supposed to ask for help. Hopefully we're going to have some definitive answers to that, but I'm imagining that by fall, the collections will be wide open again, and you can go in, and in archives, you would be able to go in without an appointment. It's always better to let them know you're coming, though, because the collections are different. They're in a vault, if you will, especially the very, very rare and unique items. And interacting with an archivist ahead of time makes it easier to find what you need there. But we love student collections, student orgs. They are often the topic of papers that are assigned on campus, and it's important for us to know what you need. It's a good question. Thank you. Archives is truly an amazing and somewhat hidden resource.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? I guess I do have one before we wrap up, Dr. McNeil. I was just
Sure.
wondering if there was any plans for the space in Lilly right now that was
Oh.
previously the library, or if that's something maybe that you all are going to look into this fall.
Oh, it's not library space anymore. I can tell you that. I don't know what campus plans are for it, though. There may be something in the works, but it's not going to become a library again. When the Wilmeth Active Learning Center opened, a number of libraries closed. That was part of the campus plan around making the walk happen. I would love, and I'm hopeful that with the master plan, my desire will be supported by input from students and others. The idea of more of a library study space, interactive space on that side of campus. I think there's a need. We hear it from students.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just wondering maybe if that was going to be a place for it, because I know that bottom floor of Lilly with the tables is usually really popular for students between classes.
It is, and when I was here before, it was 4 or 5 years ago now. That's when we knew that Lilly was going to close. Campus decided to put furniture down there because we stressed the need for study space and get together space. The provost often calls it lounge space, I think, when he and I talk about it. And there is a group, I'll just end with this, unless someone else wants to have a question or a comment. There is a group getting together soon from a lot of student-facing units on campus, so the libraries, the provost office, residence halls, the registrar, and student life. I might be missing someone. Anyway, we're getting together as we did during the early last summer to think about study spaces, to think about what we can bring back and what we might do now that things are growing safer and we're starting to plan more for fall. So there, the master plan is not the end. I mean, I'm not going to wait. We're going to be finding other ways to get more study space back to meet student needs. I've sure enjoyed being with you, and I'm quite happy that you invited me. So thank you very much. Please do feel free to reach out. I'm easy to reach by email if you have any suggestions or questions, and I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you so much. I don't know if we can hear you, but we're giving you a round of applause here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you. Goodbye, all.
Bye. Okay, we'll just give a second to set up here before we do roll call. Okay, I think we are ready for, actually I'll start real quick with proxy reports. I don't see anyone in here, but is there anyone on Zoom who's a proxy? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into roll call.
Hi team, of course my internet does not want to connect, so we're going to just sit here awkwardly for just 1 second. I could tell a joke if you'd like. Did you do it? Okay, what? Red, what? I messed it up. What's white, black, and red all over? A newspaper. It's on! Okay, great job. Thanks, team. Okay, Senator Wyberg.
Here.
Thank you. Senator Ferguson.
Here.
Senator Hopfer.
Here.
Awesome. Senator Bonnet. Senator Hockenberry.
Here.
Senator Leachin. Did I say that wrong?
Elias, are you on Zoom?
Okay. Senator Iyengar.
Here.
Senator Dodona.
Here.
Senator Chris.
Here.
Got that one. Senator Beatty.
Here.
Senator Buftas.
Here.
Senator Prieria.
Here.
Puria. Can you say that for me, Amber?
Pereira.
Pereira. I love that. So sorry. Senator Jaw.
You're fine. Here.
Senator Griffin Little.
Here.
Senator Davis.
Here.
Senator Reed.
Here.
Senator Cabrera.
Here.
Awesome. Senator Grishin.
Here.
Senator Light.
Here.
Senator McDaniel.
Here.
Senator Stowe.
Here.
Senator de Guzman.
Here.
Senator Coffin.
Here.
Senator Reynolds.
Here.
Senator Lennon.
Here.
Senator Knitter.
Here.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome. Senator Kopp.
Here.
Senator Sejuan.
Here.
No, I said it wrong.
It's Chavon.
Gosh, darn it. Senator Shi.
I'm sorry, it's Shy.
Oh my
here.
God. Senator Shy. Here.
She's here.
Thank you. Roll call has been taken, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. We will now move into the introduction of visitors. We can start with our visitors in the back if you just want to hold down the button and just say your name and reason for being here, and then if we have anyone online, you all can go after that.
Hello everyone, my name is Anvi Aurora with the Purdue Exponent. I'm a news reporter.
I'm Joe DeHonek, I'm also with the Exponent.
And I'm Richard Johnson, I'm with the Exponent as a photographer.
Do we have any visitors online with us tonight?
Yes, you do. I am Eric Furstenberger. Ty should be with me, and we are both incoming student court justices.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance followed by the Pledge of Purpose for senators. I pledge allegiance. Our purpose Okay, we will now move into the approval of minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved as distributed. Now go into executive reports. Are there any executive reports?
Hi, team. Not used to being able to look at you all when I speak. Beautiful crowd, beautiful crowd. But seriously, so vaccination, we talked about this. I can't remember who exactly, I think it was you, Senator Wyrick, but we talked about vaccination. Where are we right now? The survey that was sent out that I hope all of you took got 25,000 responses, which is great. 77% of those responses were students. There's not a breakdown between undergraduate and graduate, but 77% students. Only 9% of those responses said they were uninterested in receiving the vaccine at any given point before the fall. About a quarter of this is that they didn't trust the vaccine. A quarter of it thought they didn't need it. And then another quarter was religion. The other quarter was other. They did not let them know. But that being said, there's a consensus that the general public here at Purdue or the population will get the vaccine as soon as it's available. So there was discussion about, well, what does this look like in terms of, will there be some sort of card or how do we know if you got the vaccine? But none of that has been fully developed just yet. In terms of Purdue being a vaccine site, they said that they've been cleared, ready to go. We'll hopefully be able to start vaccinating students before we leave in May. That being said, they have not received any doses of the vaccine just yet. So that's what they're holding. When they do, unlike Maya or CVS, Purdue is not a private entity, so they will be following the release plan guided by the state. So right now, I believe we're at 50. If you're 50, so obviously we wouldn't be in that group right now. I do understand that if you're a TA or you serve in sort of an education role outside of being a student, you could be eligible. I know President Nunez from Purdue Graduate Student Government is working on finding out more information and guidelines. At certain locations, they'll ask for proof of you being an educator at certain, so I'm not telling you to go and do it and say you are and not show proof, but I'm just saying that is something that's available, and it varies on how strict they are. Another piece of the conversation, which Dr. McNeil kind of mentioned, is they're thinking about, so how do we start to get back to normal? What's our rollout plan in terms of as restrictions get looser? And so any input that you all have, I know that Vice President Dar and myself have shared what we think are good strategies, but I think that this is a space where every student feedback is so important because we all have different levels of comfort. And so if you have any ideas about that, we'll hopefully put something on Slack. We can start a thread, or feel free to email me directly, but I know they're looking for a lot of student feedback right now. In other news, Mina Harris, we made it. We're here. It'll be on Monday. I hope you all have looked, have signed up via Ticketmaster. It should be a really great event. We've already got some really great questions coming in. On Monday in our newsletter, you should have seen the Bold Brunch. We're really, really excited. This is an opportunity. It is it was International Women's Day on the 8th. It is Women's History Month. This is something that's really close and personal to Vice President Dara and myself. I know a lot of strong young women in this group, but also that are supported by a lot of strong young men. And so this is an event that's for everybody. Dr. Roxanne Gay was a former professor here at Purdue. She is now at Yale. She is a author, Bad Feminist, several books. And also the swag bags you're going to get are pretty dope, just to put that out there. And I know money's important. We have got a lot of sponsorship, more than we thought was going to happen. So it just shows the need and what this event looks like. We're hoping to write a piece of legislation. Purdue is still 57% male, 47% female. And so, or no, that didn't add up. 43, whoa. I saw someone's eyes. I was like, wait. Okay, 43%, 57%. There we go. I can do math. I'm a finance major. That being said, as a student body, it is something that's important to talk about. And so if you'd like to work with us on writing that, I know we got 2 sessions, so it'll be a little bit quick, but it's important. Finally, we did get several emails last week about anti-Asian behavior or actions happening on our campus. That is something we do take very, very seriously. As you know, we've talked about this in the summer with Black Lives Matter. When there is a specific group that feels affected or has been affected on campus, it is our job as student representatives to take action. And so met with Dr. Sari and President Nunez from Purdue Graduate Student Government on Monday. We're working on a joint statement. We're also waiting. You should expect a statement by the provost this week. And if it doesn't, that's when our statement will come into play. But that being said, if you see anything, please let us know. I think this is something that it was horrible to read, right? You don't want that sort of behavior to happen to anyone or actions to happen to anyone. And it is our job as student representatives or advocates that if you see this sort of behavior, that you say something, that you take action. And I remember last time we passed legislation, we say we support it, but your actions have to match those words. And so this is just something I want to remind us because we are representatives here. And it is something that we got a lot more reaction or just messages than I would have expected, and it's unfortunate, and we don't want that to happen to anyone on this campus. So that's all I got.
Awesome, thank you. I have a couple updates. The first one, jumping back to Mina Harris real quick. If you are interested in attending the meet and greet after, we're going to have a few PSG representatives there, so just feel free to email me or reach out on Slack. I can give you the information for that. Going back to Carol Shelby a few meetings ago, she sent an email looking for some student input and help with skateboard and scooter safety. So the task force that Asada sat on last year, as well as some other student representatives, they have finalized those rules and initiatives they'd like to put in place, but now they're looking for some help to get them out. So looking to maybe make some infographics or have some students featured via some short videos. So if that's something you're interested in helping out with, feel free to let me know. I also just want to say thank you to the senators who are helping with the pharmacy nursing proposed building letters. I've gotten a couple of those yet, and I know I have 1 or 2 more coming in, but I sent the first one I got over to Susan Brock Williams yesterday, and she was really excited and said that this is going to be very helpful. So thank you all so much for helping out with that project. I did want to bring up the J-terms data. The report has been finalized, so we'd like to begin working on a resolution about that. So if, again, that's something that you're interested in helping comb through the data, help form the resolution, would be very helpful. And then also next Thursday we have a reading day coming up, very exciting. So reminder, no office hours that day, but also just wanted to put the reminder out there again. If yourself, constituents have issues with courses not following the reading days, we have resources we can share to help alleviate those problems. So we'd love to help with that. And then finally, next meeting, President Daniels will be attending, and so be on the lookout for an email from me with a question submission portal. I think that's it. Chief of Staff?
Not much from me besides BOD is doing really great with planning their monthly events. Some of them are actually starting to tack on some extras, and they're working really, really hard, and a lot more information on that will come soon. NERM posted in our Everyone PSG Slack about the office hour bingo. Looks really fun, and all you have to do is just pop into the office hours, ask a friend a question, and you'll learn more about someone in PSG. So I hope you guys will all engage in that, and that's it from me.
Thank you. No, Chief Justice. Anyone else on executive reports on Zoom, or Pro Temp Griffin Little, do you have any executive reports?
Yeah, I do have a couple quick ones. First of all, Elise and I met with Jamie Cox earlier this week, and we talked a lot about how the ranked choice voting system is going to be playing out. And it seems like the system that's on boiling right now did get a lot of promising results. Currently, we have been tasked with figuring out how to analyze the results properly and in a way that fits with the algorithm for ranked choice voting. And she is currently working on making the qualification list, all of the lists of people in various colleges, so that when people go onto the voting site, they are redirected to the correct senatorial race that they have to be voting for. And second of all, the end of semester report is underway, and I have already reached out to several people within Senate regarding different initiatives that you might be taking on. I know a couple of you have still not gotten back to me regarding those initiatives. So if you could do that soon, that would be great, just because the report does need to be drafted in a much quicker fashion this semester. But yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Pro Temp Griffin Little.
Just two quick announcements. One, if you are a new senator or do not have a committee assignment or are perhaps interested in changing your committee assignment, please stick after so that we can get everyone situated. And then also be sure to keep up with your responsibilities. The semester is going by very quickly, so be sure that you're meeting with deans, going to your student council meetings, planning your events and such.
Thank you. And I will say a lot of you still have money stuck in your individual college budget, and we cannot use that. So it's up to you. Hopefully you all are able to use that maybe to host one of your events. Any other executive reports? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into committee reports. Are there any, well, we all have committee reports. IA.
Hi, so IA is going to meet next Wednesday, and we are going to try to look at how we should approach representation in PSG in recent light of the student athlete bill, and kind of what PSG's next steps towards that could be. So if you're interested in that, come to our next meeting. I can give specific details, but that's pretty much what we're looking at.
Thank you. FA?
Yeah, so FA had a very successful MHA event last week. We gave out all of our 250 masks to students around campus, which was super good. And still working on getting PSG small grants out there and reviewing them as we go. That's all from FA.
Thank you. CSRA?
Yeah, CSRA is drafting legislation and hopefully get that on the Senate floor before the end of the semester.
And UAA?
So UAA has no updates at the time because we meet tomorrow. But but our MHA event was very successful. We have a infographic we made about all the information that we found about course evaluations that Dr. SS was very happy that we spread around to students, and probably going to do more with that because they're trying to increase student responses. And we made stress balls. It got kind of messy, but it was really fun.
Thank you. We'll now move into informal discussion. Back to MHA. I can share about MHA. I just pulled the socio meta something, and we had just under 600 students who were actively participating via the app, and then also just so many more that got involved maybe through tabling to help find out about events or engage, so that was really exciting. Is there any other informal discussion? Senator Wyrick and then Senator Beatty.
I just had a question really quick about reporting non-compliant professors for reading days. It's just the ODOS general report, right?
You can also reach out directly to Dr. Savardi Sai or Vice Provost Hirkus.
Senator Beatty.
So the medical amnesty policy revision that I was talking about like 2 Senate meetings ago, it's written. So if you want to sponsor, like I can send it to you. But it's the medical amnesty policy revision resolution. So if anybody's interested in sponsoring that, talk to me after.
Molly, can you give them like a really quick lowdown on what it is?
Yeah. So we have like a 911 lifeline law in Indiana for alcohol. But we're looking to add to the university policy, like controlled substance use, marijuana, and like non-medical prescription drug use. And then also in cases of like sexual abuse or, yeah.
With MHA, I did not say thank you to all of you for participating, for getting your friends to participate, for rocking the gear. It would not have been successful without you. I heard the language I wasn't a fan of, but I did hear that MHA was pushed down the throats more of students this year than in past years. So again, did not like the phrasing that they used, but I like the sentiment, so I want to share that with you. Also, our 2 bigger initiatives with the Boiler Wellness Ambassador, we have I think 40 student applications. A lot of them are first-year students, and so we can only pick 10. So that's pretty good. And also, we just heard back from the Dean of Students on our student support network. So it's happening. We have our meeting next Tuesday, and so it's exciting to see that the bigger, more systemic initiatives are coming into play before the end of the semester. Also, you're going to hear from Caroline. She is our executive director of engagement. They would like to do a Thank Your Teacher campaign because Purdue wants to move in the direction of having more thoughtful professors, to be a school that values what you do in the classroom. I think that we've talked about this as a body in terms of like, well, what goes into your tenure process and what do professors prioritize. So I think it's a really great initiative, but that being said, they've called on engagement to help them with that. And so if you see Caroline posting in the Slack, please do engage because this is important. And if we talk about that this is something that we want our professors to reflect on, we want them to lead with empathy and teach better or just meet us where we are. This is something that the provost office is doing to make that happen. So we really need some engagement there.
Any other informal discussion? Amanda or Senator Shy, are you on? Okay. I think she's on. But I did want to say, like, during informal discussion, which is what we're doing, Amanda and I are meeting on Friday to talk a little bit more about the demolitions that are going to be happening at Purdue Village. So if you all weren't aware, this summer half of Purdue Village is being torn down. So we're just interested in learning more about what's going to go up there, as that area is an area that is very safe space for students with families, also a space that historically has been predominantly occupied by international students as well as students of color. So wanting to make sure that opportunities are still there for students to have housing that's affordable as well as close to campus, as well as a safe space to raise children, as well as a lot of people out there also do live with other family members such as grandparents to help take care of their children. So if that's something you're interested in, Amanda and I are meeting Friday just to kind of figure out some next steps for that. Anybody else? Okay. We'll now move into old business. Do I hear any old business? Senator Reed?
Motion to bring up Bill 2064.
It's been properly motioned and seconded to bring up Bill 2064, 2021 to 2022 Student Activity Fee Report. We'll start with the authors of the bill and then open up discussion from the floor. Is there any further discussion at this time or comments from the author? As a reminder, this is the second reading of this bill.
I'm not Greg, but he did text me and say that if you have any questions, he's available via phone, but that he spoke with Pro Tem Griffin Little and didn't think there'd be any other issues.
Okay, seeing no discussion, we'll move into a vote. All those in favor, if you could please raise your name placards. And then, actually, I'm going to let you put your name placards down for 1 second because I know we're going to need to be able to see the people online. Okay, awesome. We can see all of you online right now. iPhone, we don't know who you are. So if you're online and you'd like to vote in favor of this bill, please raise your hand. Okay, we can't see votes right now currently from Marissa, Lindsay, Kiara, and or Lana. All right, all those in favor in person. Okay, thank you. All those opposed online and in person? Okay, and then any abstentions? Okay, with a unanimous vote, Bill 2064 passes. Okay, is there any other old business? Okay, so now we move into new business. Do I hear any new business at this time? Senator Daytona.
A motion to bring up Bill 2065.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and seconded to bring up Bill 2065, Supreme Court appointment for Eric Furstenberger. So we will start with discussion from the authors and then move into discussion from the floor.
Yeah, so Eric joined the court this fall semester as a clerk and has done a great job the whole time, been a really valuable asset, and will make a great justice.
Thank you. Eric, I believe you're online with us.
Yes, I am.
All right, would you like to share a few words about why you'd like to be appointed to this position?
Well, I applied for the court last spring, last April, and I figured it'd be a really good leadership opportunity to be involved in on campus. I work with students all the time. I'm an RA in Hillenbrand Hall, so I'm constantly having to discuss with students about, what kind of things did they want to see, change on campus. And I figured that the court would be a really good avenue for me to pursue within student government. So that's kind of what I went for. And looking forward, we have an election coming up, and I totally understand the need to have a full court because it's going to be a very interesting election cycle, and I'm ready to get to work and be a part of it.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Is there any other discussion at this time? Senator Reynolds and then Senator Chris.
Oh, Eric, I was just wondering if you
Eric, I don't know if you heard that, but she was wondering if you could talk a little bit about some things you learned from your experience as a clerk and enjoyed.
Sure. Basically, what I learned a lot, especially, even coming here tonight, is the proceedings are really important. Probably the biggest thing that I did as a clerk was just take notes during the traffic court meetings. So those are really important because we will refer to them in future cases, just to understand the precedent that we set. And that makes our job important because we come across unique situations all the time, and who knows when we're going to come across something in the future that's similar and we might need to have a reference to look back on. So my work as a clerk, I feel, has been really valuable and important to the future success of the organization, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Senator Chris.
All right, this is a interesting question, but who would win in a fight, an infinite number of lions or the sun?
That is, wow, okay. I'm gonna say the sun on the simple basis of, dude, that's crazy. I'm gonna go with the sun because I don't know if, I feel like no matter how many lions you throw at it, they're just gonna go right into the sun. I don't, unless the lions can find a way to spread themselves out over the course of the entire sun, I don't see that happening, so I'm gonna say the sun.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into a vote on Bill 2065, Supreme Court appointment for Eric Furstenberger. All those in favor, please raise your name placards. All those online, if you could please raise your hand. Okay, all those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? And Brooke, I just want to confirm that you were a vote for. Your thumb is still up.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Okay, you're good. And then Amber, was that a yes or a no from you?
It's a yes.
Okay, perfect. With a unanimous vote, Bill 2065 passes. Do I hear any other new business? Senator Davis.
Motion to bring up Bill 2066.
Then properly motion to bring up Bill 2066, Supreme Court appointment of Ty Handley. We'll start with discussion from the authors and then hear from the candidate.
Like Eric, Ty also joined us in the fall as a clerk, done a really great job, gone above and beyond in his duties, and will make a great justice.
Thank you. Ty, are you online with us tonight?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, so I joined the court this fall, like Elise said, and I felt like I could, I was going to use this opportunity to try and become a justice at some point, because I feel like I offer a unique experience in the fact that I also served on IFC's judicial board. I served as clerk during my freshman year for IFC's judicial board. I would take notes, everything like that. Saw the judicial processes for that. And then my sophomore, the second semester of my sophomore year and first semester of my junior year, I was promoted to director of administration, where I handled smaller judicial processes myself and gave out sanctions to fraternities myself. Not only that, but I was head of standards board for my fraternity, so I also dealt with judicial processes that way. I really enjoy seeing how things work, judicially, and I believe that I have a strong moral code, and that I am someone to be a good judge of character, judge of intent, and basing things on the facts. So I feel like I've done that a lot in my previous experience, so I felt like I could do that with the court as well.
Thank you. Is there any discussion from the floor? Senator Stowe.
Hi, thank you for being with us. I just wanted to ask two questions. So firstly, did you ever feel that you had a decision you made where you had a personal conflict and you had to make the decision in spite of that? And secondly, I wanted to ask you, do you think OJ did it?
Okay, so I have had situations where a personal conflict may have come up during that, but I always feel like I have been able to separate the offense from the person. I've handed out, especially within my fraternity, I've handed out some of the harshest punishments to the people who I consider my closest friends, because it's what they deserve. Like I said, I have a very strong moral code, and if someone does something wrong, even if they are my friend, they aren't exempt from sanctioning or punishments. And if OJ did it or not, even though the glove didn't fit, I do believe OJ did it. So.
Okay, yes, Senator Cruz.
All right, so another interesting question for you. Who would win in a fight? 10 horse-sized ducks or 100? No, who would you beat in a fight? sorry, let me rephrase. Who would you beat in a fight? 10 horse-sized ducks or 100 duck-sized horses?
Now, that's an interesting question. I've actually been asked this before. It's really a double-edged sword. I feel like even though ducks aren't really that versatile, I don't like if they're that big, it would be hard to, take them all on myself. And horse-sized ducks, 100 of them, I mean, that's just a lot. I feel like I could use some kicks to my advantage in that, though. I know horses are pretty strong, but I feel like I would have my best opportunity with the duck-sized horses. So I feel like I could beat the duck-sized horses, even though both of them would probably be pretty hard fights.
Okay. We will now move into a vote on Bill 2066, Supreme Court appointment of Ty Hadley. All those in favor, please raise your name placards. I think I'm just waiting on Millie and Kiara. Okay, all those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Okay, Bill 2066 passes. Do I hear any other new business? Seeing none, we'll move into announcements. Are there any announcements? Yes, Senator Shabam.
So, hi everyone. The CLA Senators, I'd like to make this announcement next month on Wednesday, April 7th, between 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll be having a career fair, which is still in the works. We're still getting a big list of organizations and other companies that will be arriving, but we hope to have this as an opportunity for CLA students, but also everyone else who's interested to come in, maybe meet some people who they think would maybe accelerate their career in some way, or just to make new networking connections. It's hopefully going to be a more flexible format where a company would register. And I say company in the broad sense, it won't just be companies, it will also be organizations that might be important to you in any regard. But you'll be able to come in. Some of them will have workshops pertaining to a specific topic. Others will be mostly just speaking about their own professions. But I just wanted to put that out there because it is coming up. And then if you are interested, please feel free to contact me or any one of my fellow senators or associates, and we can get that information for you. Thanks.
April 6th, 10 to 3?
April 7th.
April 7th, 10 to 3. Okay. Thank you. Any other announcements?
April 6th is the Golden Tap ceremony, and so we talked about this earlier in the semester, or in the fall, when talking about campus, deaths on campus. And so this is the opportunity that, or the time that the university uses to honor and celebrate and grieve the students that we've lost in the last year. And so it will be, I know I'll be there in person, but other than that, it will be broadcasted. And so if you'd like to tune in, I know that PSG lost one of our own. And so would encourage everyone to tune in if you can. And if you need help surrounding that moment or you want to talk or anything like that, please know that we're here. But it is on April 6th, the day before the career fair, which I'm so excited to hear is happening.
Anyone else? Yes, Senator Stowe.
In that same vein, I am the president of a peer-led grief support group. So if you feel you need any support during then, you can reach out to me. I can give you our information to one of our meetings. So.
Anyone else? Pro Tem Griffin-Little.
Just a reminder that if you do not have a committee assignment, and also committee chairs, if you could just stick around after so we can square that away real quick. Thanks.
And last thing, I promise. I know this is the last Senate session we'll have before we are actively in election time. And so just want to remind everyone that elections are a time to celebrate, to be supportive of one another and other tickets that are running, and just want to make sure that we're promoting a collaborative environment, even in a time of good competition and good tension. I think the ideal that everybody shares, right, is improving the Purdue campus. And so just wanted to make sure that that was clear and that you are very aware of the rules regarding talking about elections within this space, within the office, because after this, they're almost there.
Thank you. If you need a reminder, you can reread the Pledge of Purpose. Okay, any other announcements? I will say for Bold Brunch, which you should all go to, there's also 4 awards being given away for $1,000 each that come with a really cool plaque and flowers. And there's also opportunities to nominate a faculty, staff, and administrator to receive an award as well. So that information came out in the campus-wide, so the details about how to apply, the eligibility, etc. So definitely encourage you all to take a look at those. Okay, seeing no more announcements, we can go into, oh, I forgot where I was. We'll go into snaps. Is there any snaps this week? Yes, Senator Wyrick.
I just wanted to give a snap. Generally, I can't remember names right now, but anybody who was involved in like the MHA planning committee or like did anything, it was so awesome. There were so many people like in my life specifically who were so passionate about MHA who don't get involved on campus. And so that was so amazing, especially our co-chairs. It was amazing. Anybody that helped, give yourself a round of applause because it was a really amazing campus-wide effort. So congratulations.
I'm just gonna go. Olivia beat me to it, but I have to say thank you, Asada. Thank you so much. You were really like my mentor through this whole process through MHA, and I think it went really well. Everyone in the committee, I know everyone in this room helped and was involved, but in the committee, Shannon, Olivia, who else? Sammy, Hannah. Sorry, a lot of people were involved, so you all deserve snaps. So I just want to say it's like something I'm really passionate about, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to get to plan it with you all, and it's really fun. Thank you.
So I'm also going to go and talk about MHA. First and foremost, Veronica, you are the best co-chair in the world. Literally have been like a little sister over these last 6-7 months, right? And I'm so very proud of you. And I know I sleep easy knowing that MHA is in great hands. But for all of you, everyone's in the committee, Sammy, Kaylee, for getting us our guest speaker. Sammy sat on the floor of our office and did bandanas. Olivia was an incredible moderator. Shannon brought in our other guest speaker. And so the mission of MHA, right, is to cultivate a community where we care for one another, where we know that we are not on this journey alone. And just the committee in of itself exemplified that. So very, very proud of you all. And I'm so glad to be able to have an opportunity to have our staple thing on campus, right? And I know that it'll continue because of the amazing people in this room. So thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Once again, our pro temp Griffin Little passed her second exam to become a teacher, which is the most major thing ever.
I'm gonna go again 2. I just realized I had so many. So I have 2 more. I think it was Meryl, Leah, and Addie. And I'm so sorry if I'm wrong, but they printed our flyers for our UAA event with their own printing money.
It wasn't me. Don't give it to me.
It wasn't you? Okay, I'm sorry. And Molly. It was Molly.
We can reimburse you, Molly.
Get a snack. And if you're here, you get a snack.
I can feel the energy on this side.
Love that energy from my committee, so thank you guys. I didn't. Okay. And then my second one I want to give is Divya for being our new Polytechnic Senator. Everyone say hi to her.
Guys, snaps to the weather. If you like this weather that we're in right now, like windy, dark, cloudy, you should move to Georgia because it's like this a lot, and it just felt like a little taste of home.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing no other snaps, entertain a motion to adjourn. Senator Reed.
Madam President, I move we do now adjourn.
Okay, it's been properly motioned and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor, please raise your name placards. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Jenna! All right, this meeting is now adjourned. I know Alex wants to see you if you don't have a committee assignment. And yeah, have a great rest of your week.